Peace. Welcome to the campaign trail. And your brother Cam painting. Um, rest in peace, of course. Frankie Beverly. Frankie Beverly from Frankie Beverly and Maze. Man, the soundtrack of our young black life in America. Rest in peace. James Earl Jones. Another soundtrack, a movie track or TV track to our young life in America. Made being black in America easier to get through the day and get through the life with them two angels of their field, gods of their field. Rest in peace, Frankie Beverly and from Maze. Frankie Beverly, rest in peace, and rest in peace, James Earl Jones. As you know, this is the 23rd anniversary of the 9/11 Twin Towers event. So I'm not here to really say nothing necessarily algorithm triggering, because we know what platform that this is that we own. But of course, I want to give all my condolences and prayers and well wishes and tranquility down on the hearts and the minds, sending that out to all of the victims of 9/11 attacks and all of the families and friends. Hey, peace. Peace. And all of the families and friends who was affected by that. Yeah, you're gonna hear some extra noise. I got the gardeners out there and family just walked in, so you might hear some noise. You say Eric Swan, shout out to that's right. That's right. Eric Swan said shout out to his father, not necessarily creator, but maker, Dr. Yakub, right? But yeah, it is just a brief like little video shout out live. Going live every day this week instead of doing pre-recorded. Just going live, even if it's for 10 minutes, just to get a live tap in with my folks. Probably at lunch, at work, at school, whatever we doing. Never forget. That's the slogan. Never forget. Similar to the slogan of never again. You know what happened in Germany under the Nazi regime. Never again. And this is never forget. So of course, I'm just asking questions. I cannot say certain things on this page, but if it's never forget what exactly? Never forget what exactly? Never forget who exactly? We know who as far as the victims, but who exactly were the victimizers? Who exactly were the ones that actually perpetrated that? So did we forget, or did we ever know? Will we forget? Will we ever know? Do we know? So I'm not going no deeper into that, because this is YouTube. This is YouTube. So, they listening with the bionic ear, with the Lindsay Wagner, with the Steve Austin ear and eye right now. So I'm not gonna go there. But at that time, 23 years ago, almost nearly 3,000 souls, people lost their lives and people lost their family and loved ones and friends. And since then, many more thousands have lost their lives due to illness, from the debris and stuff that they breathed in at that time. So, never forget. So yeah, we of course will never forget, but do we have the full story? Do we have the full information? Do we have the correct story? Do we have the correct information? So yeah, we'll never forget based on our grade level of understanding and information, but the ones who will never forget is the God of justice. The God of justice and his angels, they never forget. They worse than the elephant. They never forget. And there's no such thing as escape. There's no such thing as you got away with it, whoever it was, whoever it is. We heard over and over that it was 19 Arabs, and one or two of them dropped their ID or their passport or whatever and stayed intact. We know that building 7, was never hit by a plane, but we know that whole story. We know the guy that had the $2 or $3 billion insurance policy recently just taken out. Silverstein, I think his name, Silverstein, had the insurance policy renewed not too many months prior to that incident, and made sure that it was covered for terrorism, acts of terrorism. So never forget. Which part should we never forget? Which part should we never forget? Mr. Brock, salute. The Pentagon also, not just the towers. The Pentagon situation also happened on 9/11, as well as an airplane in Pennsylvania that went down, if I'm not mistaken. It was a lot of stuff, a lot of confusion, and supposedly training exercises that was supposedly going on at the same time. A lot of so-called alleged stand down orders. Just a whole lot of confusion. So never forget what? Never forget which parts. Was there closure? Was there definitive answers? Never forget how, we never got a chance to actually test the debris. All of that debris was hurried up and gathered up and sent to be melted down or sent overseas. I don't know if it was sent to China, whatever, never forget which part exactly. If we have family and friends and loved ones that perished in that or was affected, health-wise still affected, which part should we never forget? Which part should we never forget? Certain parts I can't read it. I'm not going to read them comments because, the algorithm is on all-time high right now. Jamila Burns, wa alaikum salam. Never forget Bush Jr. sitting in the classroom. Never forget apparently that there was some news stations, I don't know if it was overseas or here, that was actually reporting that it happened allegedly before it actually happened. Never forget which part. Never forget which part. So we should never forget. And I don't want to start forgetting today. I don't want, 23 years later, was there actually closure? Was there actually satisfactory information and receipts and proof given to us? Or are we still hearing eyewitness testimony from people that was there that say that they heard something else or they saw something else? There's people in the Pentagon that their eyewitness testimony, they was there, say that they didn't see they didn't see no signs of an airplane. They didn't see no seats, no luggage, nothing. Never forget which part. So I like to ask questions. I like to believe that we was told the truth. I would love to believe that we was told the truth. However, fresh off the Fauci and pandemic situations and other situations, Operation Northwoods, never forget which part. Never forget which part. DA said I was on dialysis machine that day watching it on TV. Never forget which part. Were we satisfactory? Was the answers that we got, was it satisfactory to you? Because it's a lot of people. It was a whole movement, and still a whole movement of 9/11 families that have alleged that they've been silenced and their voices have been silenced. The 9/11 families, the 9/11 truthers or truth movement that they allege that they've been silenced. Haven't heard their stories on the mainstream media. But if you go to X, Lord have mercy. If you go to Twitter right now, if you go to X and Twitter, and you look at and you listen to the videos and the audios of the people that spoke that day, never forget which part. Never forget the mainstream media's version, or never forget the actual people that was theirs version. Never forget which part. Never forget which part. Never forget the scientists, the thousands, hundreds, if not thousands of scientists, the engineers, the people that got together, that was actual structural designers and structural scientists of buildings and skyscrapers. Never forget their testimony and their protests. Never forget which part. Never forget. Did 19 Arabs that barely, whatever, is that all? Is that it? Case closed. Never forget we couldn't test none of them, the building materials. Never forget. I forgot the scientist, the lead scientist that was talking about thermite, the liquid, molten liquid thermite. What he said would look exactly like thermite. And I don't know either way. I'm not a scientist of that. I'm just listening to different stories that they telling me never to forget. So I'm trying to figure out which parts we not supposed to never forget. So I'm just letting y'all comment. I definitely can't read none of your comments, but I want you to comment so this will be on record. So when I post this up, I have nothing to do with the comments, but I sure would love to see y'all comment on what we should never forget 23 years later. How that affected us, how that affected our freedoms, our rights, our ability to travel, the ability of government and so-called law enforcement to have total power over anything we say and do in the interest of, anti-terrorism. Never forget which part. Right. So I can't read the comments. Salute. I'm not reading no comments out loud. I'm reading them silently, but I can't repeat them. So this is for y'all to say whatever y'all please, or to type whatever you please for a few minutes. Never forget, 23 years later, 3,000 lives lost around nearly at that time, and thousands more since then over the last 23 years, let alone the trauma, the PTSD, the trauma, the grief, the depression, the self-deletion, you know what I mean, associated with the direct attack with people that had to, that chose to end it by out the windows or off the roofs of them buildings, and then the people who did that later on because of the grief and the horror. Never forget who did it. Never forget who did it. Were we correctly told? Never forget who they said did it, or never forget who really did it. And if there's a God, a God of justice, a God that retaliates and avenges, then we're seeing it. We'll see it, and we're seeing it. It's a lot of things happening to the world and to the countries. So we'll see. Yep. So I'm just here to let us vent in the comments, typing. This is the one time I give you the green light to just type, because I can't read it out loud, and I can't have y'all on here speaking it. But never forget, right? Never again, never forget. 23 years later, 23-year anniversary, 9/11, September 11th, 2001. Never forget the most atrocious at that time, the most atrocious, the most blatant, the most bold, uh, violent, because they attacks is different these days. We're being attacked through food and through water and through products. We've been attacked all kind of ways, but that was, to my knowledge, the greatest one on American soil. The physically violent. So yeah, we should never forget whoever pulled that off, whoever allowed that or planned that or collaborated with that, whoever had prior knowledge of that. Never forget. Never forget. Yeah, on that note, I'm gonna hop off of here and get right back on, and we can talk about whatever y'all want to talk about other than this. All right, I'm gonna get right back off and right back on. Peace.